Well, hello, my YouTube friends. For the last couple of hundreds, of you remaining following me on YouTube, you must also follow me on Instagram. So you should know that I received this. How can I describe it? I'm gonna describe it like doing the review of it now, but I don't know. I don't know how to put words on it. Todd is one of the geniuses, if not the genius. He's at the top of the hill right there. There's no comparison with that guy. Honestly, in the market, I don't see anyone that can compare to Todd Rexford, and for a very, very good reason. You know, collecting. Oh man, wait a minute. I'm gonna get back to that. Wait a minute. Hear the detent. Ooh, hear that? A rocket. That's it. That knife is a rocket. Collecting knives. You have to start by liking the knives first. It's surprising. When you collect, it's a kind of disease, and it evolves in cycles. Most of the time, the psychologists or psychiatrists, I don't know, they say, and it's not they say, they see that there's a kind of pattern, and most of the people will collect for like 3 years in cycles, and then we go back to another kind of collection. Why in the hell is collecting knives such a long process for me? I've been collecting for years, and I'm still enjoying it. It's because you have not only the item that you're collecting, but also the people that you may like around, collectors, makers, etc., etc. But it starts with the knife. Then after that, you get to know the makers better. Sometimes not. Sometimes they can be just fantastic guys, and you get to even become friends with them, and the experience is even better. Sometimes it's regular. I mean, you don't have no real experience with the guys. Sometimes it's just acquaintances, and sometimes you can even hate them for what they did, like Neil Blackwood, for example. I hate I hate to think of him as a bad person, but what he did was bad. So and still I can appreciate his knife. So the experience can be different, but first of all, you have to like, of course, the knives. But what I was intending to say is that you can keep on with this process and keep on forever almost, because of the community that you have. I don't know why I was mentioning that, but what I was saying is that Todd, for example, it's one of the makers that I like the most. It's just an acquaintance. I mean, it's not. We don't have specifically friendly relation. He's not my friend. He's not someone that I don't know. He's not someone that despite it's basic relation, just an acquaintance. But he is one of my favorites. So, like I said, it has to start at the beginning. It has to start with a knife. Then the rest is the icing on the cake, and this is why I just absolutely adore Rexford knives. Is because those knives, they speak to me in a way that is just incredible, and I know that it's not biased. Of course, not biased at all by my relationship with the maker. Maybe it's the point that I wanted to get. I love Rexford for his knives, and they're just insane. So, like I said, the couple of hundreds of you remaining here know Rexford perfectly well. He started making. He looks like a youngster, but he's been making knives for quite a while now. He's great at all points. I mean, he's a fantastic maker at all his features are great. The designs are great. He's making knives and designs for Kershaw, ZTs, you name him. He's one of the best businessmen. One of the examples that I like the most, speaking about the way he conducting his business, is I had several Rexford, in the past. I had some issue. Wait a minute, I'm gonna try to. Jesus Christ, I'm sorry about that. The hand rub is perfect, but I don't know. There's a mark here. I don't know what it is. I would like to wipe it up, but I don't want to stop the video. Otherwise, I would not do it again. So, for example, I had a couple of issues with his knife, just a spy, I called him, instant response, send the knife a week after. I'm in France. A week after, the knife is in my box with a daily feedback with him. incredible communication when you have the spa. And when it was because of his mechanics or stuff like that that needed to be done, it was free of charge. That's a perfect businessman. Now, on the other side, if I'm calling him or try to send him a message to ask him to make a knife for me, I could wait for years and I would not get a response. Perfect businessman. Then his builds, insane builds. Used to only work with no CNC, sorry. Recently, especially on this one, of course, he started to use the CNC, but in a very refined way. You still have, and we're going to talk about that, the 100% touch, human touch, and with some machining inside. So that's perfect. Used to only work, even with the craziest build, he used to only work with hand. So he's a perfect custom knife maker. Then he's making several kinds of builds. Oh man, this action. So yeah, I was going to say the basic one, but there's no really basic build with TODD, but basic in his line. Then in between, like this one, and then the very complex build. So he's a very, very, complete maker by all means, all standards. Is complete and perfect in all points. Is absolutely perfect. Love it. His designs are insane. This one, I want to talk just a second about the design of this one. This one is the design that is made. This knife is made for me. I'm going to tell you why it's made for me in a second. First of all, the design. The design is perfect. He made the singularity. Too much roundness. I like roundness, like on this one a little bit, but I like it to be some straightness also, and that's perfect. It's perfectly balanced. I like a knife to be balanced also with the blade handle ratio. This one is absolutely perfect, as most of his knives, to say the truth. I love the gamma, but it was a little bit too wide. I loved the entropy, but it was a little bit too narrow, too thin and too narrow. This one is in between the gamma and the entropy. It's called the relativity. That's the perfect design for me. It looks like it's just designed for me. Absolutely adore that. Why do I adore this one too? Also because of the build. The build is just crazy. I love crazy. It's not crazy. It's simple and some craziness in it, but it's something that I've talked about. It's rare, and for some reason it's something that I adore, to have a full titanium build with a liner lock. I think it's really neat. I don't like the cut of the frame locks. I like the evenness, on both sides, presentation and lock side. So I like liner locks better most of the time, but also I like titanium. It's really futuristic knives and etc. But most of the time you're gonna see people who will make like some bolsters, some crazy material when they're gonna use. You're gonna have titanium in the liners, but on the side they would say, "Oh, why put other titanium? Let's put something more fancy." So you're gonna have other material on the liner lock, which is something that I don't like that much. I'm stupid. I don't know what I'm saying. But something that I like is also to have titanium like that, with an even build and with a liner lock. So absolutely adore that. Now on this one, the first icing on the cake, because there are many of those. The first icing, so it's that the build is a full titanium with a liner lock, but with an inlay. Jeez, and what inlay? It's not like it's a small inlay or whatever. It's that beautiful, humongous inlay, perfectly fitted with that knife. But that's not even all. The icing on the cake is that this inlay that is beautiful, looks like a dressy knife. By all means, this inlay is bronze. And bronze is one of my favorite material. It goes with my bronzo on the Panerai. I wish I would have the Panerai today to match with that beautiful inlay of bronze. Man, yeah, that's my point. This knife is made for me. Absolutely adore it. Now, check this work here. I love the forced patina on the bronze inside and the edges that are still, satin here. And you see the bronze, absolutely beautiful, perfectly inserted. And yet you have, so here, look, you have the work of machining. You cannot have those squared finish and those lines if it's not with the CNC. But yet you have the roundness. Look at that, the exquisite roundness that we know TODD does on the edges. And also the small imperfection that shows that the work is done by hand. You see, here it's more fitted than here and than here. And that is something that I crave, actually. Most of the people wouldn't understand that. When it's too perfect, it's too machined. So you need to have some exquisite work of contouring, like on this one, some tiny imperfection that shows that this knife is pure custom. Absolutely adore that. Now, the pivot, that is something else, my friend. It's inserted in a way that it's just crazy. It looks like, I don't know, that's why I like, and when I say that it looks like a fixed blade, it's not only the design that looks like a fixed blade, sorry about that, but this thing looks like something cosmetic, you know, like an ornament that is put on the knife to go with the inlay here, with some, you know, titanium here, the same thing that you have on this side with the pivot, with the color of titanium. Love that. Love the evenness of the build. Love the evenness of the material here, titanium and the bronze here. And it looks like a part of the frame. It's insane. It's insane. It's insane. I don't understand that pivot, oval pivot like that. It's just crazy. And it's so even with the square that you have here, you know, the sockets that you have inside. It's such great build. Such well thought knife. Absolutely love it. Yeah, the mechanics are insane, as most of the time, all the time, sorry, with TODD. You have a split liner. Absolutely adore split liner. It's called split liner from master Michael Walkers, who is the inventor of the liner lock. He calls those constructions split liner. Love them, and it's actually the construction that Michael loves the most. So when the inventor of of a feature like that, like a lock, is saying that is his favorite, you have to, you know, to like it too. Now it's really going fast. I want to show you that side. Look at the exquisiteness of the grind on this side. So you have here the flat part. Here you have the thinner part of the hollow of the swedge that you have, and then it becomes, you know, like wider here, and then you have this tip that is like, oh, wicked. And this view is insane. It looks like a spear of the backspacer. Oh man, check that. The spear of the backspacer is the spear of the blade, sorry, is meeting the arrow here on the backspacer. Absolutely adore that view with the two inlays on the side, with the machine clip. Is just brilliant. The backspacer, love it. Love the arrow here. Love the arrow here. Love the dual finish. Machined, but perfectly and exquisitely inserted. You know, it was surprising for me to get a knife like that with some machine work from TODD, because I'm not used to that, but it blends so well with the exquisiteness of his hand finish. Just insane. And this clip following here, the socket, the clip is crazy. I love it. Finishes just here at the start of the socket. It's a part, I mean, it's so well made that is, to me, incredible. I have less than, oh man, wait a minute, I'm shutting my mouth just for you to listen to this sound. Hear that? Oh, the centering. I mean, the centering is like bullseye, you know. No nonsense, it's like spot on here. The action. Oh man, it's snappy like nothing. Now check this exquisite grind that you have. The swedge is so delicate here with a very, you know, it starts with a small flat here. This is something that is difficult because when you have a big part of the flat, but here you have a small flat here, narrow, getting to the tiniest line here, and this exquisite line finishing here, and it's not straight. When it's straight, it's simple. Here it's convex. Whoa, like that. Man, absolutely brilliant. And you have those, like I said, here it's wider, the hollow is wider than on this side here. It's just brilliant, rock solid on every position, of course, as you can expect. Oh, something before finishing. I love those external hidden stop pin. This is something that I wish most of the maker would do. They act as stop pin here when it's locked, okay? And they act as stop pin here when it's open. It's just fantastic. You don't see them. It's best of both worlds because external stop-in are tougher, but you don't see them. They go in that channel here. You don't see them, and it's the best of both worlds. Absolutely adore that knife. I have to finish on that because we are now heading to the 15 minutes. It was a pleasure to do that video. Bye-bye, my friends, and catch you very soon for another one.